All right, Ed, thanks.
In your morning headlines today, the former CEO and president of USA Gymnastics is now behind bars and awaiting extradition back to Texas.
U.S. Marshals and local officers arrested Steve Penny in a cabin in Gatlinburg. Last month, a grand jury in Walker County, Texas, indicted Penny of tampering with evidence related to the Dr. Larry Nassar sex abuse scandal.
WBIR 10 News reporter Daniel Sexton explains the investigation and what happens next.
The former president of USA Gymnastics will remain in Sevier County Jail until he's taken back to Texas to face charges. According to the U.S. Marshals Service, Steve Penny was wanted in connection to allegations of evidence tampering in the case of former U.S. Gymnastics doctor and convicted sexual abuser Larry Nassar, a third-degree felony. Nassar was sentenced to 40 to 175 years in prison twice following sexual abuse allegations from over 250 athletes. In 2017, under fire and accused of mishandling the Nassar investigation, Penny stepped down from his role with USA Gymnastics. Then, in a June Senate hearing concerning Nassar, Penny pleaded the Fifth.
I have been instructed by my attorney to assert my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
In September, a grand jury returned an indictment which alleged Penny ordered the removal of documents from the Caroli Ranch in Texas, a ranch previously run by the Caroli family, former USA Gymnastics coaches. Some of Nassar's accusers say he abused them in that ranch. The indictment accuses Penny of ordering the removal of those documents from the ranch after hearing of the investigation. Investigators believe those documents arrived at the USA Gymnastics headquarters in Indiana, but haven't located the documents. At the request of the Texas Rangers, who say those documents are important for their investigation, a team of deputy marshals and the Smoky Mountains Fugitive Task Force tracked Penny down in a Gatlinburg cabin and took him to jail. He awaits extradition to Walker County, Texas, where the Marshals Service says he'll face charges.
All right, now, according to USA Today Sports, Penny's attorney says he was in Gatlinburg on vacation with his family and did not know he had been indicted. We will continue to keep you updated on this story here on 10 News and online at WBIR.com.